Hey guys, thanks for joining me for Silhouette Sunday. I'm finally back with a Valentine's Day project, and in this project, I'm going to be doing a little bit of kind of pseudo layering heat transfer vinyl. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be making some small pencil pouches, but you could use the same idea for bags or t shirts or whatever you wanted to apply it to. So, first thing I'm going to do is go into my library and get a heart. And I'm going to be using this set of 11 hearts. This tends to be the one I gravitate towards the most. And I have a bunch of them here, but I don't need them all. I only need one. So I'm going to go ahead and click it, right click to ungroup, and then take out the one that I need. So I think I'm going to use this one, and then draw a box around all of these so that I can just hit delete on my keyboard and get rid of them. And this is going to be my background. So for now, I'm just going to resize it a little bit and just move it down here, because what I need to work with next is my font. For the names for these bags I'm creating, I'm going to be using a font called KG Satisfied. And KG Satisfied actually comes in two fonts, or two packets, so to speak, so you don't have to use special characters or glyphs to figure out what you want to type. So one is called KG Satisfied and the other one is called KG Satisfied Alternate. And the alternate font is what has the swishes and the swirls. And you'll see what I'm talking about here shortly. So the first bag I'm going to work on is for Jessica. So I've gone ahead and selected this text tool and I'm going to click on my mat and type her name. And then I'm going to change this to that font that I mentioned, the KG Satisfied. So I'm going to change my font style from Area to KG Satisfied, and you'll see that there's more than one version of the font. There's this standard one, and then there's one with the swirls. So I'm going to go ahead and click the standard one because that's the one I want to use. And I didn't get this J, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight it and change it to KG Satisfied as well. Now, for the most part, this font looks fine as is, but I want this A to have a tail on it. So I'm going to go ahead and double click the name again so that I get my cursor back. And I'm going to highlight just that A, and I'm going to change it to the next font, which is the alternate version of the font. And you can see that it jumped and it has a tail now. And I want the beginning to have a tail as well. So I'm going to double click and bring my cursor to the beginning. And I'm actually going to change it to this font and hit 0 on my keyboard, and it'll give me that left swirl. So this looks pretty good as is, but I'm going to go ahead and move some of these letters a little closer together before I decide to weld. So to do that, I need to select it, right click, and then go to ungroup so that I can move each letter separately. And when I click ungroup, you'll see there's a box around each letter. So I'm going to go ahead and put these S's a little closer together and the letters after the S a little closer together. Once it looks good, I'm going to go ahead and draw a box around everything, right click, and then go down to weld so that it's all one piece. And then I'm going to zoom out so I can go back to working with the two pieces. So I'm going to be working with the actual name, Jessica, and the heart. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a box or select it, right click, and then I'm going to go to group just so that I can move this all in one piece without losing the dot on top of the I in Jessica. And I'm going to go ahead and make this bigger because I know this isn't big enough for my final project. And if you don't like the way the font looks as is, you can use these boxes at the top and the bottom to stretch the font slightly, but it will distort it just a little bit. And then next, I'm going to take the heart that you saw before that I picked out from that pack of 11 hearts, or set of 11 hearts, and I'm going to make it bigger. And the front of my pouch is approximately 7 by 9, so I can go fairly big with this before I run out of space. So to layer my heat transfer material, I'm actually going to cut away this section in the heart, but I'm going to need this same name to be cut in another font. So I'm going to go ahead and select Jessica again, right click, and then go to copy, and then right click again and go to paste so that I can get another one. Now, once you do this step, it's very important that you don't resize anything because you're going to cut this out later in another color to layer on top. So if you change the size of this, it'll no longer fit in here. So My last step is just to drag a box around everything and move it up into the top left hand corner of my mat so that I don't waste a lot of material. Now, this part is optional. It's completely optional. You can cut it out this way and weed it out and it'll turn out just fine. But if you prefer to actually break these lines here on the side, so you're actually cutting, it looks the way it's going to appear on your final project on your screen, you're going to draw a box around everything, go to your modify window, and then go to subtract. And now you can see where those parts in here are broken apart. So this looks a little bit more what your final project will look like, or your final product will look like once you've weeded it. But this part is completely optional. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and send this to the silhouette and cut it out and show you what the assembly process looks like. Hey guys, so this is just a quick little addendum to the video. I decided to use a pink and gold heat transfer material for my project, and this particular material requires you to mirror the image. So if your material does not require mirroring, you can cut it out as you see on the screen. If it does require mirroring, what you're going to do is select everything that you're going to cut and then go to the replicate window and click mirror to the right or to the left. I chose mirror right. And then I'm going to go ahead and select the originals and click delete. So now I'm ready to cut out, but that's just specifically for those of you who have a material that requires mirroring. Here I have the two patterns cut out, one in gold and one in pink, and I'm going to weed each one of these out using just a small pick tool. Now, I know in other videos people have commented on how it's difficult to see the pattern, and I don't usually struggle with finding the pattern where it's been cut in the vinyl or the heat transfer material, but if you do struggle with that, you can use a light box so that you can see the lines. And once I turn this on and I turn off one of the overhead lights, you'll be able to see where the design actually did cut out, and you can see the heart and where Jessica is written out. So if you struggle with weeding out designs because you can't see them, I would recommend using a light tracer or some type of light box. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and weed this design out. So I'm going to remove the outside rectangle around the heart and the area where it actually says Jessica. So I'm going to be using what would be the negative on my final project. Here you can see I have everything weeded out, and I've actually already weeded out that gold piece as well. So now I can transfer both images onto my bag. So I placed a towel down just to protect my work surface, and the project or product I'm using is from Amazon. I will link it in the description box down below. And it's a pack of these small zip bags that I believe that you get 3 or 4 in a package, and they come in several colors. So they're good for projects like this or making multiples. But anyways, I'm going to continue on with my project here, and I'm just going to place that heart down in the center and use my iron to transfer the design off of the backer sheet. In the past, I would use a towel to protect my iron, but using this travel nonstick iron, I don't find it necessary anymore. And once the design has released from the backer sheet, I just peel up the backer material and then place that Jessica down. And you want to make sure that you carefully place it in the black space that's left behind. And I actually used that extra piece of backer sheet as additional protection so I didn't melt that glitter on my iron when I was transferring the Jessica. Now I did do a little bit of detail work with the tip of the iron to make sure it was transferred completely. And once I was positive that it was going to release from the backer sheet, I just peeled it away. So here is a look at the final product. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.